Welcome to Board Game Binge, the place where we bring you bite-sized, bingeable board game content from across the industry. I'm your host, James Staley, and in this episode, we're chatting with Alban and Nanty from Thematic Games. Alban's newest game, Paragliders, a unique race in 3D space, is currently on Kickstarter. Alban, welcome to the binge. How you doing, my friend?
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me.
Oh,
That's really great.
it is great having you on here. Now, first and foremost, you said literally a microsecond before we went on air that you're in China, but I know you're I think you're French, right? So
That's
how
that's
are you
true.
in China? What's going on?
Well, yeah. Life bring me in China. My wife is Chinese actually, so she we met in France, but she bring me in China, and yeah, basically, I'm a video game developer originally. But then I also develop and design a board game
Hmm.
as my second job.
So how long were like, and how did you get into the video game industry? Like, when did that start?
I started in 1999, so we are 26 years ago now. And I spent all my career mostly in video games, mostly on the programming side, but I was a gameplay programmer, so always interested in the gameplay aspect of the video games and work closely with designers also. And yeah, when I then a couple of years after, when I was in China, I also play a lot of board games. I love board games, and
Hmm.
naturally I started designing a couple of them, and up until I decided let's try to go on Kickstarter with one of my game. Actually, I'm not an artist, so the issue was trying to find some art, so trying to find some artists.
Yeah.
But I met a colleague that was okay to draw the art of
Hmm.
one of my game. Yeah.
I was gonna say you would
So
have access, right, to like from the video game industry, you would have access
yeah,
to artists and things like this. And I'm just curious, was it console-based games? Was it mobile type games? What kind of video games were you working
I
on?
did a couple of everything. I started mostly my career on console, very old one, PS2 also,
Yeah.
and then the more recent one. Then I also did some mobile. I set up also a startup company with some friends. My career had I worked with different video game companies, and we did a mobile game also. Yeah, and nowadays I'm working for a company that's basically offering development for other companies. So
Yeah.
doing some
Now you
yeah.
started in 1999, and I'm thinking back to around that time. I was working at a food company, and I remember that there's a huge panic over the Y2K, right? And for those
Yep.
listeners that don't remember this, a lot of the computer clocks, I guess, had like there's some kind of clock internally that was based on two digits. And no
Yeah.
one thought in the late 70s when a lot of these systems were first started, and every system kind of built on the one before, to adjust this clock to account for when that rolled over to 00 again. And there's this massive panic that it was going to end the world, right? Like all the power systems were going to fail and everything.
Yeah.
Did you guys have impact in the video game industry? Like, was there concern there as well over
Um,
Y2K?
No, I don't think it was that impactful. But actually, there was panic, that's true. But
Yeah.
a lot of software engineers, I mean, worked like in the late 90s. They started updating all the software. And even, of course, Microsoft updated is Windows and all that stuff. So in the end, that was not that impactful. There was some very rare software that were not updated, but most of them were already updated when we crossed the 2000 line,
Oh, that's
actually.
crazy.
So
And it sounds
yeah.
like you've been in China for a while then. So this isn't recent. This is you've been there for how long have you been in China?
Uh, I think I came in 2008, something like that,
Wow.
or
Okay.
2007. Yeah.
Almost 20
So
years. Gee.
15 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh. And have you found like because it's no secret that most manufacturing for board games is done in
Yeah.
China.
Yeah.
You would have the unique advantage, I would think, of being
I
able to
do.
go
I
into
do.
the actual
I visit my
visit the
manufacturer,
facility.
all the
Yeah.
I visit quite a lot of manufacturer actually, even the biggest one. And currently my manufacturer is Hopes. Let's
Okay.
make a
Yep.
little bit of
Yeah. Hopes is great.
advertisement. Yeah, Oops, they are great. I really love them. They have very decent price, very good price, and they are very flexible. And flexibility is very good for small company like
Yeah.
us. Thematic Games. There is other like Gameland. I think they are good. Their product is very good. The quality is good, but they are not as flexible
Yeah.
like for a small, yeah, especially when we do small batches. They can with hopes they can produce for 400 copies if you want.
Oh
So
wow. Yeah. That's
usually it's 500 and minimum, but yeah,
yeah. And you got kind of got the big ones. You got Gameland, as you mentioned. You got
yeah.
Hopes. You've got What's is now on kind of on the radar. You've got Long Pack, and then I would say Sky Game.
Pack I visited too. Yeah,
Yeah, those are all the
yeah,
ones I've used as well. Um, if you're using like a long pack, they're larger organizations, so you're really getting pushed to do like minimums of 1,500, right? Just for efficiency on their end.
yeah.
Yeah, if you want,
1,000, 1,500, yeah.
yeah,
500 is really the barely minimum, but hopes can even go a bit lower if you want
lower
to.
than that.
They are
Wow,
really
I know Sky
those,
Game will go as low as 500 as well. And and I think that's a smart thing to do sometimes. People I've had on this podcast where they need 500, 600 copies, and they're talking about producing like 2,500 to get the best cost. And I'm like, okay, but you're going to be sitting on thousands
yeah.
of copies, and they're going to be in a
That's
warehouse, or they're going to be in your
yeah,
garage.
yeah.
You're going
Then
to
there's
pay.
cost for the warehouse.
You're
Yes.
paying for the warehouse, which is not cheap,
Mm.
and then you're going to have to pick away at those over time, and you're locking up cash flow. And
Yeah,
I think that's an easy thing that sometimes people get caught up in is they get caught up in the per unit cost, and they don't look at the
yeah,
aggregate cost, right? How much of my total cash is going to be tied up? Maybe it's worth paying a couple dollars extra per unit, but have a lot less inventory that you can turn over much, much faster, right? So it's kind of interesting. So it's cool that you're there and you get to actually, I've worked with all these manufacturers for, gosh, like 7 years
yeah,
now, but I've never
yeah.
had the
Actually,
pleasure. Yeah.
yeah. In my previous campaign, I remember I filmed some of the. I think it was the assembly of one of the extension for Minigolf. I filmed it directly from the factory and I posted it as an update on the Kickstarter. So I think the biker was super happy to see the game really produce on the production line. That
Yeah.
was cool.
And then
Yeah.
when you started in the board game side of the industry, so this
Yeah.
guy, so when did the board game side start for you?
Um, Yeah, I can't remember exactly the date, but let's say, like I said, I was playing board games with friends, and then I started to, yeah, let's design my own, like we all do, a lot of
Yeah.
player try to do that, and then I thought after I got one or two design, maybe I thought, yes, I'm in China, my wife can speak Chinese, can talk directly to the manufacturer, can visit them. So let's leverage that. And this is where I told her, yeah, I want to set up a company. So I created my company in Hong Kong because that was easier for me as a foreigner
Hmm.
to more difficult to create it in China mainland. Um, and yeah, I think I started maybe, I don't know, 10 years ago, something like that. Can't really remember. And like I said, I had this colleague that was okay to do the first Kickstarter with me. So it was a Minigolf Designer at that time. Actually, it was not my first idea. My first idea was to start with a simple and smaller game, which
Hmm.
was Dinodocus, because it's a card game, party game, card game. And I thought, oh, just card game is cheaper to produce, less risk. Let's start with this one, and then we do Minigolf after. But the thing is, I had already had an artist doing all the dinosaurs for Dinodocus, and it was not ready. It was super slow to create them.
Mm.
When I met the other artist, and I said, okay, I have another one. The other one probably is the mini golf, and she was okay. Let's do that. So she created the art, and it was ready before Dinodocus. So I said, okay, let's do Kickstarter with mini golf. It was a bit more risky, and there was a kind of controversy on the art. So a lot of people didn't really like the art. Strange, like the art of the tire, everybody was okay, but the art of the character was a bit special, I would say.
Yeah.
And I think the reason is because she didn't draw the art on computer. She actually painted
Oh wow.
with gouache. Yeah, and then we scan it. So the style was really like paint on paper and scan after. So it's not like you draw, with your tablet and you
Yeah, like
can
digital
really
art. Yeah.
and you did digitally. So it was, yeah. Not everyone liked it, and I failed my first Kickstarter mostly for
Mm.
that. I asked, why did I fail, and what should I change? And the bikers said, change this and that. So yes, I redid the art with another artist, actually the one doing the dinosaur game, and the second time was successful. So yeah, and actually right now I think Minigolf is one of our biggest success. I think more successful than Dinodocus.
Did you ever
I kickstart Dinodocus after.
did you
Mhm.
ever feel like after that first failure that oh maybe this isn't for me or maybe I should stop, or did you have no doubt that you're going to make this happen? It's just you got to figure it out.
That's a good question. How did I feel? I was quite disappointed,
Yeah.
but yeah, I understood. I listened my backers. I listened to my backers say, what should I change? And yeah, they said, for example, the cover of the box is not good, and that was true. So I decided to change it. Um, no, I was still confident because I was confident in the design, in the gameplay of mini golf.
Hmm.
Um, and I thought the failure was mostly because maybe the pricing was not correct, also was not right, and the art was not right. So yeah, you can still see some reviews online because in the internet keep everything in memories. So you can see some reviews where the reviewers say, "Oh, the art is hopeful." I remember that. I think it's the Dice Towers say, "Oh, I hate the art. It's hopeful." That's quite could be heartbreaking for the artist actually, but
Oh
yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I think it's rarely this is going to be controversial to say, but I think the first thing people will say is, what is why didn't this thing work? And people gut reaction will say price, too expensive. That's in life on everything. I
yeah,
used to work for, as I said, a food company, and every research study we would do, no matter what the price was, there's always a percentage of people, like a large percentage of people, to say it's too expensive, right? Because people essentially want
yeah,
things for free. But when you do
and
the research, it's usually something else that's driving it. Price is usually like kind of third, I would say. Obviously art and the look of what you're offering is important. I think
yeah,
the perceived gameplay and how's this going to play, both of those are going to trump kind of price. Price is not really in the hobby market anyways. The entry point. It's usually these other two things, and then price. Obviously, you have to offer some value, but um, people are buying the game based on how it looks in how it plays or how they perceive it's going to play, versus just
yeah.
kind of like a sticker price on it, right?
Yeah, yeah. And to be honest, I'm not putting a super low price on my Kickstarter campaign. I put a fair price,
Yeah,
although my company could have enough cash to probably produce the game without, but I would probably go back to zero if I do that. But
yeah,
no, I want to do a fair price uh, that cover the manufacturing cost and shipping cost and all that.
and
And
marketing, quite
the
frankly, too, right?
warehouse,
Yeah.
yeah, the stock and the warehouse for the future. So um,
Yeah.
yeah, and this time I tried something new also, which is making a multi-language box
Mm.
because before it was all only English, and then Mini Golf we produce it in English and Chinese, and we will produce it in German. I have with the cooperation of a publisher that I want to publish in German, so that's great. Um, but yeah, this time per glider, I'm trying multi-language just to again like lower the cost. It's not there's no it's language independent game, so it's basically just a rule book.
Yeah.
Um, so I thought this game is suitable for a multi-language box, I think, and let's try it to do that. That may, yeah, group the cost and a
Yeah,
little
one thing
bit.
I
So
started doing was in our game. So same thing. We try to make our games language independent wherever we can, right? So it's literally just a rule book you're changing. And I've had games where I've printed multiple rule books and put them all in the box. I've had other games where I've had like
mm,
bilingual versions. And what I ended up gravitating towards is going back to English only rule book, but then we provide digital rule books in multi
mm,
languages. So if people want to open up the digital book on their phone, or they want to, they can even print it out if they want. But they have the ability to get it in multiple languages. But for me, the key is making sure those components are language independent wherever you can,
yeah.
so that people in any country can play this game. And quite frankly, if you're going to localize it, so if you're going to work with a partner in another country, that's going to put it in their language, it's easier. They're just changing the book. I did this. Had a game that we localized in
Mm,
China, right?
yeah.
Ironically, back in China, we end up localizing this game, and all they had to change was the box and the rule book. Everything else on the inside was the same, so they didn't have to
Yeah.
change the dies or anything, right? It was just
That
literally the
that's
book in the
great.
box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
So
But yes, I think it's a bit, I mean, as a player, I feel a bit sad if I don't have my rule book in my language.
mm,
Like I'm French, and well, it's a bit weird because when I was in France, I was buying my game in French for sure. But once I moved to China, I bought my game in English, mostly to play with other friends. You know,
sure.
that's the international language. Um, and yeah, I noticed that on Paraglider we have way more French backer because the game will be in French in the box. There will be a
Interesting.
French book in the box. Way more than mini golf. We had a couple of French, but not that many. So I think maybe still an impact. Like when you are in France
Yeah.
and you are French and you want all your game collection to be in French, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see if that really has an impact or not. But yeah.
There's got to be a company out there. There's a business idea for someone out there is to just be a rule book company that prints rule
Yeah.
books in different languages and ships them to backers that want language specific books in the same size and format as the one that comes in the
Yeah.
box. Yeah, that'd be kind of a cool business idea. Where did
Yeah.
paragliders come from? Are you a paraglider yourself, or where
No,
did this idea come
I'm
from?
not. I'm not. But I have a friend who is a paraglider,
Yeah.
and we play like maybe every weekend play together. And one day I told him, "Okay, I will make a game for you. What do you like? Oh yeah, you like paragliding. I know. Okay, I will make a game for about paragliding." And then I started to discuss and ask him questions. So how do you fly? And then he told me, yeah, we tend to fly above the mountains. And if you see some clouds, usually that means there are thermals, and you can run, turn around the thermal just above the cloud and all that stuff. So I try to put that all in rules because I am the kind of designer who love designing from the theme.
Yeah.
And that's why I call my company Thematic Games because I really love the theme more than the mechanics, I think. And I usually take a theme and let the theme inspire me and just say, okay, what should we do in that world? Oh, we should do that. Okay, let's make a rule to do that exactly in the game. So that's how the game, was born basically. And yeah, I we try a couple of times. Of course, I let my friends test the game, and it was okay. At some point, there was some dice also to randomize the weather,
Mm.
but then it was too clumsy, too many. So I streamlined a little bit, and I think this year in January 2025, I have another friend, a board game designer friend, um, Dylan for not naming it. Um, he just told me because there is the big vacation in the New Year vacation in China. Say, what do you do for New Year? Do you have new games designed? Do you? So I said, well, yeah, I have this one, the paragliding, but I have a problem with the setup. Setup is too complicated or whatever. It doesn't work. And then I put my mind again on it. So how can I make a setup that create a great map? Because one thing is I didn't want to just offer a boat with a fixed land and fixed map. because I think it would be boring after
Yeah.
a couple of play, right? It's yeah, like typically Steam's if you remember the train game, they have fixed board, but I love this game, but I want new board, or you have to buy a new board as extension to have new one. So I like the when my board game, when you build something, when you build a map, and it's a bit different every time. And yeah, I found something that I think it's working and it's good. So and then I try again and suddenly say, yeah, I guess the game is ready. And that's funny because I was not working on that game in January. I was preparing another game. I wanted to go to Kickstarter with another game, and my art was almost ready, which is a end game. It's a bit like and yeah, recently there's an end game that was released. So yeah, you build your end colony and stuff like that, but it's not ready. I probably will be maybe the next one. But I totally changed my mind. I said, no, let's put the end game on pause and let's just kickstart the paraglider.
So how do you play
Yeah.
Paraglider? So I've got up on here on screen. Can you walk us through like how you would set up and play this game?
Yeah, sure. So I call it a navigation puzzle, basically. So it's a race, okay? So everyone is impersonating a paraglider. And during your turn, it's very simple. You just move to an adjacent hexagon. You can move in front, you cannot move in back. You can move like on the side, not back, but you lose altitude if you do that. The altitude is the only resource in the game. You will just manage your altitude, basically. So yeah, basically you move, and then after moving, you check all the weather condition that will either make you go up or down. Just change your altitude.
Yeah,
So you move, you change your altitude. That's your turn. After that, you have also an optional move, which is accelerating. Accelerating means you go straight one more hexagon, but you lose 2 altitude. So you basically deal swap your altitude for speed for and for moving faster. Yeah, because it's a race. So it's a race. You're trying to collect 3 different antenna landmark. You try to pass through 3 specific points on the map, and then try to land on the center of the map as fast as possible. There is other way to get victory points, such as collecting other landmarks, which is a set collection, basically. So yeah, basically that's how it works.
It's a novel idea. Like, and I hear you. I can kind of see how you would start off the theme. Like, how does an actual paraglider work, right? And then how do we kind of build that into the mechanics of the game? That's kind of clever. And I was just showing on screen here, like the altitude marker, right? So you can go up and down. And is there, like, all things that go up must eventually come down, but is there a way to stay up longer? But I guess it doesn't really matter, because if it's racing, if you're trying to get things before other people, it's less about staying up. It's more about getting those items, right?
You want to land at the end. If you stay in the air at the end of the game, so you have the timeline that lasts the whole day, basically. If you are still in the air at the end of the game, you will lose points. It's not good. You will lose victory points. So you want to land. So yes, you're going up, but around the end of the game, you are trying to go down. And in the game, you will when you play it, you feel it. It's easy to go down, but it's hard to go up. But it's possible to go up, but it's harder. So it's easy to go down. You can just accelerate, make R turn. You do R turn, you lose 1 altitude. You accelerate, you lose 2, etc. You can go over the lake. The lake are usually very cold and make you lose altitude very fast. So it's very easy to lose a lot of altitude. But yeah, it's possible to stay up in the air for the whole duration of the game. And normally you should stay in the air for the whole game. If you land too early, because maybe you didn't manage well your trajectory, that's fine. There is rules, some mechanics to go back in the game. You're just losing some time or some victory points. So you try to avoid doing that, but you're not eliminated from the game. So you can continue to play, and you start over from the top of the mountain. So you start over with some altitude. But yeah, and my friend was telling me how long a paraglider can stay in the air. He was saying, oh, from 10 a.m. to maybe 4 or 5 p.m. you can be in the air if you are smart.
That
if you
long?
can, yeah, that long. He told me the only issue is to manage your
Wear a diaper, I guess.
if you need to pee, you have some little issues, so you have to manage that, and yeah, your thirst and all that stuff. So and then I stretch it a little bit more from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So just for the gameplay reason, I stretch it a bit. But yeah, they can really stay up in the air very long.
And then when this game comes to a conclusion, so someone like gets all the thing. There's a race, so they got all the
Yeah.
items they want to get first. Is that an instant win as soon as they get that?
No, everyone can finish their
Okay.
their race. And it's not necessarily the first one to land to win, because there's victory points. So it's based on victory point. If you land first, you get more points. But like I said, there's also the set collection. So if you collect more GPS marker, you can also have extra points that maybe make you win the game. So yeah, it's
And then the game's and it's fully modular, like so it's all hexagons that you rearrange every time. So this map changes
exactly.
every time you play.
Yeah, the map is built from 3 hexagon attached together, a
I
bit
gotcha.
like Tatuba, if
Yep.
you get it. And yeah, do you actually during the setup there? Oh, okay, the game there is 6 border, so that will enclose your whole map that you start to fill, and then the inside is will be different every time. So the border is the same, but the inside different. And we start by building a 3-pointed cross like that star, and then that creates 3 sectors, and you ask the player to fill 1 sector each. So the player participate to the setup. That makes the setup more fun and faster, but they can really place their sector the way they want. So if they want to make the mountain far closer the target, so in each sector you have one of the antenna. So you are guaranteed to have the 3 antenna separate, not just next to each other. So player can decide to put 1 antenna close to the starting point, or the opposite very far, and so on. So yeah, but it's all modular. The map is modular, and also the weather forecast is also randomly created and set up. So it really creates a different puzzle every time. And I've done a lot of playtest session, and every time I'm challenged, basically. I say, where should I go? Where you can collect I should say that you can collect the 3 point in the order you want. So choosing which one first you collect is also important. Say, should I go there first? And you can also look at the weather condition in advance. For example, you see, there will be a lot of clouds in the afternoon. So maybe I can use that to go up and collect the one that is in the mountain later, etc. So yeah.
Oh, it's super cool. What comes after this? Do you have another game that you're working on, or are you just focused on this for now? Or
I have plenty of other games I'm working on, but like I said before, I was working on my ant game. So you're building an ant colony. It's really a Euro style game. You're building engine, but it's a bit Ameritrash in a sense that there is a fight and dice to kill and invade the other colony. So it's a bit of mix of the two. But I still need to work, especially the fighting mechanics needs to be improved before we release it. But yeah, maybe next year.
Well, I want to congratulate you on this campaign. It is funded, so for those who want to check it out, I will put a link in the show notes. There's still 4 days to go. I'm sure you'll be happy with where it ends up. I always get excited and pumped when I see not only unique themes, right? So the theme here is so unique. But then the way you've kind of put together in the mechanisms of how this game kind of plays out, I think it's so cool. And I can't wait to see some of this other stuff that you guys end up doing. Alban, I want to wish you all the best in this campaign. I can't wait to see how it ends, my friend.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for having me, James.
No worries, my friend. You take care. Cheers. This has been an episode of the Board Game Binge podcast, hosted by James Staley, produced by James Staley and Mike Bruner, with original music by Nick Smith. If you would like to watch these interviews live, simply subscribe to our YouTube channel, Board Game Binge, and you'll get access to live interviews, giveaways, and interesting board game content from across the industry. I can't wait for you to join us. See you next time.